Alright, in this video I'm going to show you how to answer part B. Use the regression function to estimate the number of participants in 2000. Now the first step I would always do when trying to answer one of these questions is to figure out what the question is asking me. If I was going to analyze the information that it's giving me, it gives me the year 2000 and it's asking me what is the number of participants. So I know that I have an X and a Y value in this question. If I go back to my table, I know that years, we've already concluded from the previous video, are X values, and participants, number of participants, are Y values. So I know that 2000 is going to be an X value, so I'm just going to mark X above that. And I know that the number of participants is going to be a Y value, so I'm just going to put a Y above that just to make known of what I know. Take note that for the X value, it says 2000, but if you look up here that all the X's, the years are in terms of 1900, but 0 equals 1900, so they just go up by 1. So 1901 would be 1, and 2000 minus 1900 is 100. So we're going to use X equals 100 for our purposes in this problem. Now, there's two ways to do this. The first way is to input 100 into the function, like you've always inputted anything into any function. You do this from your home screen on your calculator. Instead of x's, from your original equation up here, instead of x's, you would just put 100. You'd have to enter all the decimals, just like so, and then you hit enter, and it should give you the same answer as part 2 that I'm about to show you. But I want you to get in the habit of doing what I'm about to show you in this video because you need to be able to manipulate a calculator to answer questions C and D as well. So if I was going to do part 2 on a calculator, the first step I would do is to turn on the stat plot. So in order to get there, you need to go to second y equals. So if I go to my calculator, I'm going to hit second y equals. It's already on my calculator, but if it says off for you, you would hit enter onto number 1. And this is potentially what your calculator would look at. It would be flashing on the on but highlighted on the off. So all you'd have to do in this moment is to just hit enter on to make sure now on is highlighted and off is not. Once you do that, you can hit second mode to go back to the home screen. Step 2 then, back over here, is to enter the regression function into y equals. So I'm going to hit y equals. I've already done this to save some time, but I've entered in the function we found from video 1 or part A into my calculator. If you need to pause the video at this moment to get caught up, please do so because you need to follow along as is. But I've entered in, and this time I actually use the x's because it's the actual function we're working with. So I entered into y equals. From there, step 3 is to hit graph. If I hit graph, this is what your screen should look like. This is the standard XY coordinate plane. I'm going to have to manipulate the window to see my plotted points because they exist outside of the range of -10 to 10 in both directions. So in order to do that, step 4 over here, and you're going to have to be writing down these steps as we're going, so if you need to pause to do that as well, please do so. But step 4 is to hit zoom to change the window, and the number 9 option. So I can just hit number 9, but I'm going to scroll down to show you what it says. It says zoom stat. That's the button you want to hit, so either enter right now or number 9, and it's going to bring up the quadratic regression equation, the equation I put into y equals, and the scatter plot information from the L1, L2. Notice there's 5 dots, and there was 5 pieces of information that we entered into L1 and L2. And if you look, this regression equation forms a parabola, and I would say it is a very good fitted line for this information. It runs through almost 4 out of 5 of the dots. And this parabola is what we're going to use to answer part B, and it's also what we're going to use to answer part C and D. Now, to find actually in year 100 what was the y value in this, step 5 says to hit second trace and the number 1. We're looking for a specific x value, an input. We determined that it was an input, so we're going to hit number 1 up here, and I'm going to input the x value of 100. That's the number I want to evaluate. It says x equals 100, so it's going to give me the y value, which we determined is the number of participants at that year in 2000. So if I hit enter here, I get a y value down here of 10.8745. So 10.875 we can say. So my final answer is 10.875 million people were participating in baseball in the year 2000. And I found that by manipulating my calculator. So hopefully you followed along in your calculator. It looks exactly like mine does in this moment. If not, please raise your hand.